Hello, everyone. Welcome to week 11. This is our last week of fiction, believe it or not. I'll talk about where we're going to be headed for the rest of the semester in just a minute here. But first, let's talk about what we're doing this week. So, this week we're looking at plot and conflict because these things are a vital part of telling a story. We need to have our characters struggle. If they don't struggle, then the reader's not going to be as interested as stories where the characters do struggle, because we like to see people facing challenges and trying to overcome things. Maybe they do, maybe they don't, but it's the attempt that can captivate us. So this week, we are following our standard materials and then discussion and then exercises. The schedule for the week is the same. However, there's a couple of minor tweaks. So let's go ahead and go through everything and make sure we're all on board here. The first thing is that we have our instructional materials, a whole bunch of videos. You'll notice that there's no reading this week. That's because instead of us looking at one story and analyzing the plot and conflict of that story, it's more fun for us to all bring in our own stories. And that's what we're doing with the discussion. So you're going to be bringing in a story of some sort, and as I mentioned here, the medium doesn't matter. It could be a comic book or a novel, short story, anything that you want it to be. And you're going to be analyzing that plot and that conflict for the class. And that's what all these things are detailing. Then for your replies, you'll notice these first couple of questions aren't responding to the person you're replying to. So you're going to read a whole bunch of posts. I want you to read as many posts as you can, and then pick a person to respond to. The first couple of responses will not be responding. Sorry, the first couple of questions aren't you responding to that particular post. Instead, it's you talking about what you see going on in general among all the posts, as we look at what type of plots do a lot of different stories use. Are there ones that are more common, ones that are less common? So that's these first couple of questions are you responding to what you see across the original posts in general. And then the third one is where you're going to respond to the original post itself. Hopefully that makes sense to everyone. I also know that this question here, what I'm asking, is a little bit challenging, especially if you're not familiar with the story that I'm asking you to rework, to change how the story is told. Do the best you can here, okay? We're just going to see what happens if we play around with the order in which a story is told. Okay, so that is our discussion. The exercise is a lot easier. It's a standard exercise, 200 to 300 words, in which you describe or tell the story of a conflict where two people want the same thing and only one can get it. Then your responses to each other, you will be changing the story. So if person A won in the original story, you're going to rewrite the story so person B wins. And that should be a lot of fun. It's interesting to see these different retellings of stories. So that's what we're doing for this week. Okay, let's talk about the rest of the semester because we're getting towards the end. We're in week 11 out of 15. So this week, the coursework is a little light, and that's intentional so that we can get ready for our workshop. So next week is our fiction workshop, and we will be following the same procedure as we did for our poetry workshop. People will be turning in work by Wednesday, and then we have the rest of the week to critique that work. People are going to be turning in questions, and we will be responding to it. You can find the directions for this underneath syllabus and schedule, and then major assignments. I'll also link this as well. Workshop to assignment. Okay? Then, so that's week 12. Week 13, we're going to do some revision exercises, just like we did with poetry. Then we're going to have a 1 week pit stop with creative nonfiction. We're just going to glance off of that. And there are entire classes. You can major in nonfiction if you want, but we're just going to do a 1 week taster, so to speak. Then we have week 15, this is where you're going to be turning in your final portfolio for the semester. And we'll detail that as we get a little bit closer what the requirements for that are. But it helps if we actually go through our second workshop first, because that is a building block towards the final portfolio. And that's it. That's the class. So as you are working this week and for the rest of the semester, keep an eye on your grades. Make sure everything's looking good. It's much easier for me to change your grades before the semester ends than after I post final grades. So if you see something that's wrong, if you see something that doesn't make sense, please let me know. I'd be happy to talk to you about that. I have had some people write me this semester and say, hey, I got a 1 out of 10 on this assignment. Why? I did the assignment. And I responded, oh, that's me. Instead of hitting 1-0 for 10, I hit 0-1. It was just a typo. So that kind of stuff happens. So check your grades. Make sure everything's looking good. We don't want any surprises as we come into the finish line here. Okay, that's it for me for now. If you have any questions, you know where to find me, and I will see you all in the discussion posts.